Welcome back, guys. We're back with another video of Marvel Future Fight, and in this video we're going to be looking at CTP of Rage again, and I'll be sharing you guys some information and some conclusions which I derived from my testing. And I would also appreciate you guys if you guys know some information which I don't know I'm not aware of and I'm not pointing out in this video. I would like to I'd really appreciate if someone of so if someone out there uh, comments in the comment section down below, and let others know about the CTP of Rage. So first, starting off with the buff of CTP of Rage, ignores boss's damage decrease by 60%. It's turns out to be the prediction which I did in the first video of the first video of this series of CTP of Rage. I predicted that the 60% could be on the total damage decrease of the boss. Like for example, if the boss is having 200% damage decrease from us, then the 60% is on that 200% and is not a flat 60%. So 60% of 200% will be 120%. So that's what I predicted, and that's what it turned out to be. I'm coming to this conclusion by testing it out, and I'm saying this because the buff after that, the increased damage dealt, that buff is very low, and I'm gonna also state why it is very low and in further things. But that's what this first thing is about. That 60% is on the boss's damage decrease, the total percentage of the damage decrease that boss is having. So I'm also gonna instead of again bring this up in the end of the video. I'm gonna tell a important insight and important thing which why Netmarble would have introduced this CTP of Rage to us. So moving on, increases 0.9% damage per 1% of dodge rate or crit rate. So this is exactly verified. This dodge rate or crit rate is completely based on RNG. It might select dodge rate or it might select crit rate, and there's no control on that. Like it's not like it's going to select one of the stats which is higher. It's completely based on RNG. And I came to this conclusion by in my initial testing, when I didn't had this dodge Urus equipped on Captain Marvel, and she had capped out crit rate, and she had like 50% of dodge, I believe 50% of less than 50% of dodge. And I was observing that when she was using her fourth skill, after using her fifth skill, and at the time when CDP of Rage was active, she was sometimes dealing high amount of damage, and sometimes she was dealing low amount of damage. And after I have equipped this dodge Urus, now she's almost doing, she's doing almost the same amount of damage what she was initially doing. I mean like uh, so that's how I came to know that it is selecting randomly crit rate or dodge. And coming further, first thing which I want to clarify is that guaranteed crit rate doesn't increase the damage what we are doing on the buff. It doesn't apply to the buff. It only apply only the normal crit rate and the normal dodge rate applies to the buff. But the guaranteed crit rate will help you increase the percentage of the chance what you have to activate this proc. Here it states that it's 20% when dealing a critical attack, and you deal critical attack based on your crit rate and your guaranteed crit rate. And in that, the 20%, there's a 20% chance that the CTP of Rage might activate. So guaranteed crit rate will help you, will enable you to get this buff often, get this buff activated quite often. But it will not increase your, it will not affect your overall damage output. And guaranteed dodge doesn't have anything to do with this CDP of Rage. And coming to the next part, we already know that the cap on crit rate is 75% and cap on dodge rate is 75%. But we forgot about an interesting fact what we had previously. Like a game mechanic, when you fight a boss or any enemy of your level, like my Captain Marvel is at tier 3 level 70, and assume that you're fighting another Captain Marvel at tier 3 level 70, then your dodge rate and crit rate will be divided by 2 will be halved, will be divided by 2. So 75% of divided by 2 is 37.5%. So your crit rate will be 37.5% and your dodge rate will be 37.5%. That's all. And if the enemy what you're fighting is of a higher level, for example, if my Captain Marvel was a tier 2 character, and I'm fighting another Captain Marvel who is a tier 3, then my crit rate and dodge rate will be divided by 3. So but if you'll have an advantage if you're fighting a lower level character, but mostly when you're playing World Boss Ultimate, I'm sure that those bosses are not of lesser level than us, but I'm not sure if they are of greater level or not. But still, your crit rate will be less, and assuming that your boss the world bosses are at the same level as these tier 3 characters, your crit rate will be 37.5%. That's it. Crit rate or dodge rate when you assuming that you have capped out both of the stats, and that 37.5% into 0.9% of the damage is 33.75% uh, damage increase. That's it. That's very less. We get a 200% damage increase from a damage proc, and this is very less. I'm still not at 100% sure that it's taking the crit rate while we are playing against the boss, and not taking the crit rate what we have in the details page over here. I'm still not 100% sure. I'm like 95% sure that it's taking uh, damage from I mean the stats from while we are playing with a against someone, because it clearly states that we are this CTP has everything to do with playing against a boss. So that's how I'm going with this assumption, and that's why I was saying that this ignores bosses damage decrease by 60% is of the total damage decrease, because this 33.75% of the damage increase is not that much. It's not that awesome uh, overthrowing a normal 200% damage proc or a CTP of energy. So moving on, what we have over here is, yeah. So this CTP of Rage is gonna be really good for characters who have the damage the damage split between different skills, like for example what we have in case of Magneto, and that's why people were able to outscore Magneto when they were using a CTP of Rage instead of a CTP of Energy, and people were able to score a higher, like about 6, I assume I the information what I got from is like 400k to 500k more score just by equipping this CTP of Rage to Magneto, because Magneto doesn't have a single skill which deals insane amounts of damage. He has multiple skills, and it's not the he doesn't have like one single skill like Cable, who is which is dealing like insane amounts of damage, and his damage is coming out from all of his skills. So that's why CTP of Energy, sorry, CTP of Rage is very very good for Magneto and few other characters like Thor. I know he has a big one, I mean OP skill, his fifth skill, but not to mention the fact that he also has his tier 3 skill, which also deals a very good amount of damage, and also his fourth skill, which also deals a very good amount of damage. And if he is able to use a damage proc, I mean like a buff on all three of his high dealing skills, then obviously he's gonna outshine this other obelisk or CDP of Energy. So that's why this CDP of Rage is also good for Thor. So this CDP of Rage will be good for those characters who have like more than one overpowered skill, more than one very high damage dealing skill, or for those characters who have the damage split between different skills. There's the first part about first uh, point you need to consider before equipping a CDP of Rage to some other one of the characters. And then moving on, I thought this might be a good example, but I came to know that the second point which I'm talking about, that this CDP of Rage is not good for characters who rely on damage decrease, sorry, defense decrease, like Deadpool, with his tier 3 skill and with his third skill. Deadpool or Gambit. These characters already have a debuff effect through which they decrease bosses defenses. Not exactly like flat 60% over here, this is all defense decrease, and this applies in some other manner, but this is still defense decrease. And as this is still defense decrease and the boss's defenses are being decreased, that 60% doesn't have much impact on characters like Deadpool or Gambit, who already decreases the boss's defense and can attack, can do higher damage if they have something like a CDP of Energy, where they get a 200% damage proc and as well as this chain hit damage what they get. So this is not, so the CDP of Rage is not suitable for the characters who already have all defense decrease. And moving on, we have third point over here is that this CDP of Rage is really good for the characters who doesn't have lingering effect skills, like what we have over here with Wanda's second skill, where the rocks will still be flying in the air even after the skill is over and keep hitting the enemy. And also Wanda's fourth skill, where that aura of Scarlet Witch is still there, the purple color aura, and it will be still doing some hits to the enemy, and that additional hits actually helps you to time your damage prop. And this CDP of Rage is good for those characters who doesn't have any lingering skills. And the best example what we have over here is Captain Marvel herself. She doesn't have not even a single lingering effect in one of her skills. She does damage and that's it. There are no animations going on which will continuously do damage. So timing her damage proc is really difficult. So this CDP of Rage will be a best solution for characters like Captain Marvel, and it won't be that much of an impact for characters like Strife is also a very good example of lingering effect in his skill. So, and also not to forget the fact that Captain Marvel has this crazy tier 2 skill, which increases the buff duration as well as effect. And also another thing which I want you guys to know, if you have anti venom on your team, and if you pick up that small symbiote thing for I mean which provides healing to you, you actually get twice healing. I mean, like, you heal twice just by collecting one symbiote thing over there, because of the increased duration of the, all the buffs what Captain Marvel gets. That's another thing which I wanted you guys to know. And going on, uh, this CDP will be really good for those characters who have guaranteed crit rate built inbuilt. For example, if you uh, another thing which I wanted to point you guys, if you are using a CDP of Rage on Captain Marvel who doesn't have any guaranteed crit rate from her kit, then you can use someone like Warwolf or someone like Coulson, who provides guaranteed crit rate to the entire team if they are on the team. And not to and also another thing, if you have someone like Wolverine, and he who has 50% guaranteed crit rate inbuilt, and you give someone like Warwolf or someone like Coulson who provides additional 20% guaranteed crit rate, that guaranteed crit rate is not going to add up to the characters who already has guaranteed crit rate. It's not going to stack up on this 50%. The if even if Wolverine had like 10% guaranteed crit rate, it was not going to stack up. The game is built in such a way that the guaranteed crit rate what the character has is taken preferential uh, over the guaranteed crit rates given by the support characters. If that character doesn't have guaranteed crit rate, then only the support character's guaranteed crit rate is added to uh, the other character which you're playing with. So this CDP of Rage is really good for those characters who have guaranteed crit rate inbuilt, because as we talked previously, half of your crit rate is 37.5%, and this guaranteed crit rate is added after that calculation. So this 50% plus that 37.5%, it is calculated in that way, and your guaranteed crit rate helps you increase the crit rate, and which implies that you will crit more, and there is more chance that you will activate this CDP of Rage often. So it will be really good for someone like Wolverine, who doesn't have like uh, who has like one very big skill, and also a decent amount of skills, a decent amount of damage in all other skills, will be really good for someone like Wolverine. But this is not currently good for the kind of damage what Wolverine is doing right now. And with the next update, I think Wolverine will become a meta with CDP of Rage. That's just my speculation, guys. That's it. So moving on, uh, as I said, this CDP of Rage is going to be good for characters whose damage is split, and whose damage is based on just one skill, and it's not going to replace energy. That's what many people are saying, and many people are predicting. But my speculation is completely contrary, guys. What I'm saying is that the thing over here is that CDP of Rage offers 60% damage decrease to the boss types, and currently I can't hit higher levels of WBU. Like I'm able to hit around 60 with on Corvus, but there are others out there who are hitting 80 plus World Boss Ultimate of Corvus Glaive uh, with the lead of White Fox, and with Deadpool and Shannon Rogers. What they are basically doing is using White Fox lead to increase the all defense decrease debuff, and using Deadpool to stack the all defense, and using uh, switching out to Sharon Rogers and using her tier 3 skill to one shot the boss. I mean, like to do some damage. If those defense decrease is not applied, characters are tier 3 characters with high end builds are doing like 300 400 damage to the boss. That's the kind of defenses what the boss has. And I think this is my speculation, as people were saying that CDP of Energy will not be replaced. It will be replaced completely in this game mode of World Boss Ultimate. This will be very prominent CDP when you hit levels higher than 70 or 80, because the defenses of the boss are completely crazy, completely crazy. And the only way to do some damage to those bosses is by having this CDP of Rage, because that it provides 60% of the defense decrease what the bosses is have what the boss are having. So this will eventually replace every CDP what we have in this game mode of World Boss Ultimate. And there's another speculation of mine, guys, another speculation which I think will happen soon. I'm expecting this to happen at the time of endgame, or after the time of endgame, that what we have over here, all the support characters will also be replaced, not immediately but slowly they'll get replaced. What new typing new support character burst what we'll be seeing is that ignores X% of boss's damage decrease. That will be the new meta. That's what I'm speculating, because the support characters what we have right now, why am I not able to find few support characters? Yeah, what the support characters we have right now, that increases the damage dealt to supervillains, but this might be replaced completely, like maybe in an year or year and a half, by uh, ignores X percentage of the boss's defense decrease. I'm really thinking that that might happen, and that will happen soon, because these support characters are retaining their value for a long time now. I mean, like Coulson was the first support character, and these support characters will be replaced soon by that new typing X% of ignores X% of bosses damage decrease, and that will be the new support meta. Those two are my speculations. So that's it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hope my content, my information what I'm sharing you guys with was helpful to you in taking your decisions. So that's all for this video. Hit a like if you like the video. Comment if you have any further queries or any further information what you guys have, and subscribe to my channel for more content. Thank you, guys. Thanks for watching.